All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lupus Out Loud, also known as LOL. I know I'm throwing a lot of letters at y'all, I know. But around here, we like to learn, laugh, and live our lupus out loud. It is your host, if you weren't able to guess my voice, Floydrika Ray. And today we're talking about something that hits close to home. Nutrition and lupus. One of my favorite things to talk about is food, y'all. And we talked about that in the first episode. Now, before we get rolling, let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor. I don't have my MD, but I do have an LD, a lupus degree, y'all. I have over 20 years of lived experience with lupus. I was first diagnosed at 11, and now I am 33 years young. I have lived experience and countless lessons. Now, I'm going to throw it back for y'all. Now, I don't know if y'all heard of the artist Erykah Badu, but she has a quote, and I'm going to say the G-rated version of this quote. It says, "Keep in mind, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my stuff." Well, I'm not an artist, but I am a lupus warrior and I'm passionate about my stuff, y'all. So while I can't diagnose or prescribe, I can educate, empower, and encourage. So even though I do not have an MD, I do hold a Master's of Public Health. I am a certified health education specialist, and I've spent nearly 10 years in education. So when I talk about lupus and nutrition, it comes from both a place of research and real life. And y'all know I did my homework for this episode. Say she did her homework. So I don't know if y'all can hear all this paper, okay? But that is the homework speaking. And I pulled information from National Institutes of Health, the University of California at San Francisco Center for Integrative Medicine, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and of course, I could not leave out our very own Lupus Foundation of America in my research on lupus and nutrition. Now, out of all of those, I do want to mention that the NIH article it was titled Significance and Impact of Dietary Factors on Lupus Pathogenesis, which is a peer-reviewed study. And y'all, that's just a big fancy word to say it's been evaluated by experts. So they got the tea and they're giving the tea to us, and which gives it extra credibility. So everything I'm sharing today is grounded in trustworthy science. So let's loosen things up a little bit with a little lupus and nutrition trivia. Here we go. True or false? The foods we eat can actually change how active our lupus is. Think about it for a second, but don't say your answer just yet because I am going to reveal the answer at the end of the segment. Now, if you tuned into our very first pilot episode with very own CEO Anne Marie, you might remember the story I told you about my wake-up call with nutrition. So before we dial into the tips that I want to give you, I want to tell my story. So some of y'all may not have heard the first episode. Some of you have, and I want to hear the story again. So I'm going to tell the story again, okay? So I was first diagnosed with lupus at the age of 11. I had a very hard diagnosis, did not want food at all, lost my appetite, and I had ulcers in my mouth. So when I did get on the track of receiving a diagnosis, I craved everything under the sun, mainly because of our BFF prednisone. So the steroids really amped up my appetite, and I could smell food from a mile away. So I was eating, y'all. And when I say I was eating fried chicken, hot wings, macaroni and cheese, fried or cheesy, baby. It was on my plate. And I remember waking up one day and I told my mom, my head hurts. So she said, let's take your blood pressure. And when she took it, it was 170 something over 130 something. Y'all, I was one plate of fried food away from a stroke. It was serious because it was at that moment I realized that lupus already puts enough stress on your body, and I can't add more stress with my fork. And it kind of reminds me of a quote. It's two quotes, y'all. One quote says, "Don't live to eat, eat to live." And I have to admit, I'm still a work in progress. Sometimes I do live to eat. But food just isn't about flavor. It's about fuel. And when you're living with lupus, the way we eat can either help us or make things harder. So today, I've done the hard part for you all. I want to share 5 simple research backed nutrition tips that can help you protect your health, manage inflammation, and boost your energy even on those tough days. And you know, lupus warriors, we have many tough days. So I have tip number 1: choose foods that calm, not foods that cause chaos. So we may or may not know, but lupus is an inflammatory disease. And inflammation is normal in our bodies when it's fighting infection or injury. But the issue with that, with our bodies, it kind of doesn't know when to cut that switch on and off, and it often attacks healthy tissue. So we can either add to that inflammation or help calm it down with the foods that we eat. According to that peer-reviewed research from the NIH, people with lupus often have higher levels of inflammation markers. So it's even more important that we choose foods that are anti-inflammatory. Now, I am a professor, and we do talk about nutrition in one of our modules, and we talk about fad diets. I am in no way pushing fad diets, but I am shedding light on one diet that has a lot of focus on anti-inflammatory foods, which is called Mediterranean diets. Excuse me, y'all. Because I believe that you need a little bit of food from every category. I do not believe in omitting a whole food group unless it is told by your doctor. But with anti-inflammatory diets, and especially the Mediterranean diets, it's shown real promise in lowering inflammation, which is something we battle with, and improving heart health conditions and autoimmune diseases. And so in this diet, which is focuses mainly on fresh foods, colorful vegetables, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fish. And I really want to concentrate on the fish and different things like that because they are rich in something called omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3s are typically found in salmon, tuna, flax seeds, walnuts, things of that nature. And you can get them through food. And so, for example, today I am practicing what I preach. I actually had some tuna today. And I also, for me, and I'm going to say this, for me, I find it beneficial to my health and my lupus when I take omega-3 supplements. And so I take that every morning after I eat my breakfast. And when I was first diagnosed, my mom first put me on cod liver oil, which is an omega-3, and it did help with the inflammation. So instead of reaching for foods that cause chaos, reach for foods that calm your body, calm that inflammation down. And not only is it good for the inflammation, but omega-3s have also been shown to reduce fatigue. And I don't know about you all, but I battle with that a lot, and improve kidney health, which we know is heavily impacted with systemic lupus in some lupus studies. Okay, so please make sure you're getting your omega-3s. The next tip, that was tip number 1. Okay. And before we move on to tip number 1, I do want to say that when I am telling you this, make sure you're eating the fruit and spitting out the seeds. And I don't mean actual fruit, you all. I mean, take what applies to you, take what you can. And if it doesn't work for you, spit it out. I don't take it personally. So just take what you need, you all. So here we go. Tip number 2, watch the salt. Don't be salty, y'all. Watch the salt and the fryer. I want to go back to that blood pressure story for a second, where my blood pressure was 170 over 130 something. That is no joke, y'all. Now, studies have shown, remember she did her research, studies have shown that 40 to 50% of people with lupus are overweight or obese. Now, if you are listening to this, you may be looking at your phone or however you are streaming this information. And you may say, well, that may be because of the steroids. Yes, it is. Partly, okay, but also the way we feed our bodies can also make this worse and add to the obesity. So when you're dealing with things like obesity, that already increases the risk for hypertension and heart disease. And that's just to name a few, which are some of the conditions we're already prone to because of lupus itself. And you add steroids to the mix, which already can increase your blood pressure. It's the perfect storm, which is why it is so important that you limit the sodium. limit the amount of sodium that you consume every day to protect your heart and your kidney health. So instead of frying, here are some options you can do, okay? Try baking, grilling, or air frying instead of reaching for that deep fried seasoned chicken, y'all. I love some deep fried seasoned chicken, but we are making better choices over here. So we have other options with seasoning instead of salt. Let's season with some herbs, lemon or garlic instead, and also watch for garlic as well. So really limit how much seasoning you're putting on your foods because we do not want to put our kidneys, our heart, or our blood pressure at risk, and your body will thank you for it, okay? So I've already shared tip number 1 and tip number 2. We're zooming past it. And we're on tip number 3 now, which is don't sleep on vitamin D, y'all. And it's a big one because studies show that up to 70% of people with lupus are deficient in vitamin D. The main source of vitamin D that a lot of people like to receive is sunlight. And this is the catch-22 because, as you all know, we cannot be in the direct sun. We need to avoid the sun to prevent flares. So our vitamin D levels drop, and that can be a problem. Low vitamin D levels, just in case you're wondering, well, what's the big deal? Well, low vitamin D levels have been linked to increased disease activity, fatigue, and bone loss. And one NIH study even found that patients who improved their vitamin D levels had fewer lupus flares. Okay, amen for that. Reported better mood. I don't know about you all, but it can be a struggle dealing with an invisible, quote unquote, invisible disease that can definitely alter your mood. So I need all the help I can get. And it also improves your energy. And so with the omega-3s, you want to make sure I take omega-3s and I also do take a vitamin D supplement, but I did consult with my doctor. Y'all gonna get sick of me. I consulted with my doctor about my vitamin D levels and they were indeed low. Okay. So that is why I checked with them and I went ahead and had a supplement that was right for my body. And when I was first diagnosed with lupus, I was taking a lot of medication that also affected my bone density. And so every couple of months, I would have to go for a bone density scan. So not only do you want to make sure you're getting those omega-3s in, you want to make sure you're getting that vitamin D in and also calcium-rich foods for those bones. So a couple of natural ways you can get calcium-rich foods are your leafy greens, yogurt, milks. Especially if you are on long-term steroids, that can definitely help strengthen and kind of counteract some of the negative effects that some of the medication can put on our bodies. Tip number 4, I'm going to take a moment because I need water. Because tip number 4 is, guess what, you all? Hydrate. Hydrate like it's your job. And I have my water right here. Now, it sounds simple. I drink water, but are you drinking enough? Water isn't everything. Water is what your body and your brain is primarily made of. And water is everything when you're living with lupus. And here's a quote from my very own favorite source, the Lupus Foundation of America, you all, that reminds us that hydration, when you're hydrating, it improves or supports your kidney function. And we are already aware that kidney disease is prone to happen to a lot of lupus patients. It helps with joint flexibility. And I'm going to tell my business, this is something that I am battling with right now, particularly my left knee, y'all. And I'm just telling my business, and I hope you can relate. But my joints have been a little stiff, so I'm going to up my water intake. And it even helps with the medication metabolism. So try to aim for 8 to 10 cups a day. Sometimes I try to set an alarm. If I have a really busy day, I try to set an alarm to remind myself to drink water because sometimes when life is busy, you forget the simple things. And herbal teas can count too. You just be mindful. Don't put a pound of sugar and a pound of honey in there because you want it to taste better, because then we're defeating the purpose. And if plain water feels boring, add a lemon, a cucumber, make it a whole spa moment and really take care of yourself. You can elevate the simple things in your life just by adding something simple to it, like a cucumber to your water. Having a pouch of tuna. That's what I had today to get those omega-3 in. I also had a cup of yogurt on the way here to record this podcast. So it's little things that you can incorporate in your day-to-day life that can really improve the outcomes of your life with lupus. And finally, here is tip number 5. Nothing major, y'all. Progress over perfection, okay? It doesn't need to be perfect, but we do need to make progress. So research shows that a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves with big changes all at the same time. Start small. Small, consistent changes make a world a difference. So if all you did today was up your water intake by 1 glass, 2 snaps and a clap for you. If all you did today was swap out that soda and said, I'm going to get my herbal tea and not add sugar and a pound of honey in it, 2 snaps and a clap for you. If all you did today was said, instead of fried chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, I'm going to get a grilled chicken sandwich, 2 snaps and a clap for you. Small, consistent changes over time make a world of difference. Lupus already tries to control enough. Don't let your plate become another source of pressure. And remember to give yourself grace. Every healthy choice you make is a little act of self-love, and I love self-love. Be gentle to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And remember to always choose you with every choice that you make. So before we do a recap of all of the tools that I have given you for nutrition and lupus, and I have my trivia reveal, I do want to do a couple of announcements. We have a lot of things going on with the Lupus Foundation of America Gulf Coast chapter. Gulf Coast is the best coast. We have a couple of support groups because community is important in life, and it is very important with our lupus warriors. First, we have my lupus support group, Kids with Lupus, which is held on the 4th Saturday. We also have a support group that is held on the 4th Thursday, and that is for couples living with lupus. So invite you and your boo to come out and learn how to cope with the disease together. We also have another one, a virtual support group with Dr. Jackie Broadway. I have attended her support group, and it is very informational, y'all. If I wasn't able to speak slow enough for you all to catch that, go ahead and check the Lupus website at lupustexas.org for updates on community outreach events. Our walk is coming up and so much more because we are active. We have the walk coming in May. We have Cocktails for a Cure coming up as well to fundraise for the Lupus Foundation. And I just want you to make sure that if you forget anything or if you want to see what we're up to, check lupustexas.org. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. I just want to do a quick recap. Tip number 1, choose calm, not chaos. Choose those anti-inflammatory foods. We're already battling an inflammatory disease, so choose foods that will calm the body down. Tip number 2, don't be salty. Cut back on that salt and fried foods. That can also impact our water retention, which also could have an impact on our kidneys. So try to limit those salty foods and fried foods. Tip number 3, get your vitamin D in and calcium to protect those bones and immune system. And remember, research shows that it also improves your energy and your mood, and that is a win-win situation. Tip number 4, hydrate like it's your job. And 5, give yourself grace, progress, not perfection. Now let's circle back to that trivia question from earlier. I asked if the foods that we eat can actually change how active lupus is. Drum roll, please. If you said true, the answer is true. 2 snaps and a clap for you. Multiple studies confirm that diet plays a major role in inflammation, fatigue, and even how well our medications work. What we eat doesn't just fuel us, it fuels us. And we need to learn how to feed our bodies right because we're nourishing our mind, our body, and soul. Thank you so much for tuning in to our second episode of Lupus Out Loud. It was my pleasure to host you today. And if you forgot my name is Floydrika Ray. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. And I can't wait to speak to you all on the next episode. Bye.